We split up and separately came up with the 3 things we wish we knew sooner before starting our YouTube channels, and 2 of them we completely agreed on. The 3rd, we completely disagreed on.
The first thing that we agreed on was storytelling. This is one that I wish I would have understood just a little sooner. I think when I initially thought of storytelling, I just thought of these complicated plot lines and the sort of traditional storytelling that we hear about all the time. If I could have just understood that little tidbits of storytelling, little elements of telling a story could have been implemented in my videos just a little bit sooner, I think my videos would have improved so much.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how often I can have almost the same outline, but I just rearrange it a little bit, and suddenly it goes from this plain kind of like hodgepodge of things to a pretty cohesive story. What's interesting is that often there's already a story in what happened or in the process of coming up with a video idea, but you don't see it until you just look for it. But it doesn't mean you have to completely redo the idea or redo the filming to come up with the story.
I think a lot of times we think about the story like these large plot lines, whereas, like you said, you probably already have some amount of story built into whatever it is you're filming. It's just about picking out those right things. It's these small little simple steps, but they make such a big difference.
Yeah, people talk about storytelling all the time, and I just want you to know that it's never too soon to get started with storytelling on your channel. It can feel like that's something you should wait on. For me, I thought, well, I'll learn that later once I'm more skilled, I have a bigger channel. It's not just for the big YouTubers. Seriously, start doing it whether you're on your 50th video or your first.
Okay, so the second thing that we agreed on was having more fun. Now, to be completely transparent, this feels very cliche. So when you wrote that down, what did you even mean by that?
So for me, having fun, I think really means like not necessarily enjoying the whole process, but just taking it less seriously, being more myself on my channel, trying goofy things, even if they might not land, just because it's fun and I want to. And yeah, I'm not gonna enjoy the whole process, but if you can kind of make something that feels like it's really you, then I think the process is a lot more rewarding than just trying to serve an algorithm. And that'll give you more motivation to put in the work on the next video, even if sometimes it feels like work.
I think that's really awesome. We just talked to a creator who's been on YouTube for like 15 years. And he said that over the years, he's been really invested in like trying to learn the YouTube algorithm and just trying to make all of his videos perform as best as possible. And he said he's recently entered his Zen state where he just feels like he can create for him. I think that's one of my biggest takeaways from him about just sort of having fun and enjoying the process is just be you and create for you. Ideally, if you do that and mix it with like some strategy, you should have like the best possible outcome.
Okay, so this one's a bit awkward because I truly think that a lot of creators get started and keep going way too long with really low production quality, and they don't spend enough effort improving the look of their set and their audio, and it just sounds terrible and it looks terrible, and maybe they're giving good advice or making helpful content or they have a likable personality, but it doesn't matter because people don't stay on the video for more than 3 seconds because it looks so bad. And I wish that I had worked on my production quality so much sooner.
Yeah, and to me that makes total sense. From my point of view, it just feels like if you just get started, start publishing, that you'll likely be able to improve along the way. And if you aren't, that's where the issue lies. Like if you get 10 videos in and you haven't changed a single thing all the way through, then you're stagnated. You're not making any sort of improvements. And if you're 100 videos in and you haven't made any improvements, then of course that's really problematic. But to me, it's easier to just iterate and just like make one little improvement as you go. And if I had done that, I feel like my channel could have been started a year earlier, and then that I might be way farther along than I am today.
So you were able to really learn once you got started, but you weren't really learning much before you got started. You just weren't doing anything yet. Right. And I think for me, the problem was that I took the advice of make 100 bad videos and your first videos aren't gonna be good anyway, so just publish frequently, and the people that are consistent and publish frequently, those are the ones that succeed. And I overcorrected. And I didn't have time to focus on improving my production quality until I slowed down a bit. And so I think either side of this can be really bad. If you're sitting there and you're not making any progress, you're not even starting your channel, you're definitely not gonna get better. But also if you are rushing and you are making 100 bad videos, you don't have to make 100 bad videos, promise you. You might have to make a few. Most people aren't gonna be great right off the bat, but you don't have to make 100 bad videos.
Yeah, it seems like the ideal situation here is to probably get started, but not at such a pace that you're so overwhelmed that you can't make any changes or improvements along the way. It feels like the best improvements can be made through trial and error. I don't know what my camera setup's going to look like until I set up my camera. I'm not gonna know what the lighting looks like or how to edit a video until I actually do that. So it feels like rather than just doing practice runs and then maybe just uploading but having all these unlisted videos of practices, it feels like you should just do that with real content that you want to publish, so that there's almost like this little bit of pressure for you to just get something out there that people might actually see. And hopefully that could push you to just be a little bit better each time. But I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said this before on this channel, but I'm going to say it again because I'm a total nerd about meta learning. But the fastest way to learn, it is proven with almost any skill, especially something as hands-on as making YouTube videos, is to try it, review your results, and then improve. And if you get this feedback and improve on the feedback, you learn so much faster than if you just try to learn everything all at once and then implement it. You need to just go back and forth and get that feedback as fast as possible. But here's the crazy thing about that whole process, and it's why, even though it's the best way to learn, most people never do it. The reason is it feels the most painful. And it feels like you're not learning, because when you succeed, you feel like, oh, I'm great, I'm smart, I'm learning this. When you fail, you feel like a failure and you feel like you haven't learned anything, and like maybe you won't learn it because you can't learn it. And so even though your brain is learning so much better in those moments, it honestly feels worse for us. And that's why people avoid that kind of learning. But if you can overcome that, and if you can just tell yourself like, it's this hard, but it's because I'm learning, you will improve so much faster if you implement, iterate, and implement again. Okay,
so a perfect example of this that I think really just drives this point home. This is the second time we filmed this video. Complete transparency. The first time we did I thought the recording went really well, but we realized that Julia's microphone gets just like super scratchy and it just wasn't turning out well. We decided to scrap the first recording. So this morning, Julia took like an hour or two, literally recording a clip, placing the microphone in different places, trying to figure it all out, listening to it, trying it again over and over again to figure out what would work best. And I know that you were frustrated by that because it was just like, no matter what you tried, it just seemed like it wasn't going to work out. And I guess the temptation there would have just been use the original video, even with the scratchy audio, even though it didn't sound well. But instead, you took the opportunity to learn, we decided to refilm. I just feel like that, even though it was really painful, I hate refilming videos. I will just be completely honest. It makes a big difference because it gives us the opportunity to learn and to improve.
I didn't know you were going to share that, but I'm so glad you did because it is so relevant to this. Yeah. And the funny thing is, I was feeling pretty grumpy this morning and I was taking it very personally. I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Why can't, like, this isn't rocket science. I should be able to do this by now. And then after over an hour of trying, I looked at the cord and realized that the wire was frayed. There were wires sticking out of the bottom of it. But I think the really critical thing is to just not be too hard on yourself because you're learning and you should be proud of that and try to enjoy the process. Back to having fun.
So there it is. If you guys have issues with storytelling or production like we have, watch one of these videos that we've made. I think they'll be super helpful. And if you have a hard time having fun on YouTube, let us know. We can make a video about that. I don't think we have one yet.
Not dedicated. We got you. If you want it, let us know.
See you guys.